Good morning, Facebook. Eric Auger here. I am back with Real Estate Secret after several weeks of absence, mostly because we had the holidays and also I was away on the military quote-unquote business entrepreneurs training camp for about a week. And so that's the reason why you haven't seen much of me. So this week, we're going to talk about a very sensitive topic and something that is being talked about a lot right now on the streets. And this is the fact that for home sellers, the window of opportunity is closing. So the big question is this. How in an industry like real estate, where no formal education is required, where the only way to learn is for real estate agents to practice on you, and where the people advising you are 100% commission salespeople, meaning if they don't close deals, they do not get paid, how do you protect yourself from abuse, greed, and bad advice? That is the question, and this Facebook Live will give you the answer. My name is Eric Auger, and welcome to Real Estate Secrets. So, as I was telling you, the window of opportunity for sellers is closing. What does that mean exactly? That means that from now on, as time goes, sellers will have less and less leverage over buyers unless we see a dramatic reversal in the trend. Now, don't panic. It's not the end of the world. We're not crashing, but there is a correction taking place and we can't ignore it. So, how do I know that? Well, first thing is I will show you the volume of homes for sale right now in Las Vegas. The data is directly from the MLS. And as you can see, there's been a steady increase since January. And we are now at about, sorry, I'm reading my notes here, 10,000 homes on the market. We started the year at 6,000. So it's roughly a 40% increase, which is really significant over a period of 12 months. What does that mean? That means that we have more and more people willing to sell. And the most important reason is probably that we have had so much increase in price that we have more and more people who are no longer underwater. And as these people re-enter the market, they want to sell their house to either upgrade or downsize, whatever the case may be. So first number to note is that we went from 6,000 homes on the market to 10,000 homes on the market. The second number that I want to show you is the closing price to original list price. In other words, the difference in dollar between the first list price when the house hit the market and the price for which it's sold. And so here is the slide. Closing price to original list price. You can see that at the beginning of the year, sorry, my notes are really small, we were at about 98.4%. So what that means that houses sold for 98.4% of the original asking price. Now look what happens as we go through the years, through the month, February, March, April, January, July, August. We're all pretty close to the asking price, 99%. I mean, this is a really, really good number. There's no question about it. But look what happens starting September. We drop to 98.5, 98.2, and then 97.6. So that means that the gap between the original asking price and the price at which the property is selling is increasing over time. That's an indicator. Now, we have to keep everything in relative. A 2% difference is not a huge amount. It's very marginal. However, you can't ignore it because this could be the beginning of a trend, and that trend over time could intensify. I don't know what the numbers will be. I know that we're getting to the end of the year where typically the buyers' activity slows down a lot. But considering that the trend starting in September, it is very likely that it will extend into January, February, March, and the following month. So second number to take a look at is the closing price to original list price. And it's important to notice that the gap between those two numbers is slowly increasing. The third number that I want you to look at is the closing price to list price. That number is a little different because it measures the gap between the price at which the property is sold and the price at which it was for sale when the offer was accepted. So what that means is that the difference between that previous number and this one is that there might have been several, or maybe one or several price reductions in between. But this is basically the price that has caused the property to sell. The previous number we looked at was the price at which it went on the market. So this is the price that caused the house to sell. Now look at the numbers. January, February, March, April, May, June, all the way through August, very strong numbers, close to 100%. I don't think you can ask for any better than that. Well, you could, but it's not realistic. We were at 100%, close to 100%, which is a very, very strong number. There's no question about it. But again, look at what happens starting in September. September, 99.5. Very marginal decrease. October, 99.3, again, marginal decrease. And November, 99%, again, marginal decrease. Now, I agree, the decrease is not significant. It's a very, very small number. In terms of dollar, it's probably not a huge amount of money. But keep in mind that since it started in September, which is typically before the seasonal slowdown starts, we could very well have a trend on our hands. And I believe that there is a trend, that window of opportunity is slowly starting to close. We're at the very early beginning. So if you're thinking about selling your house, now is the time to make a decision, unless you don't mind getting a lower price in the future. The next number that I want you to look at is the number of days it took for those houses to sell. Here it is, days to sell. Look at those numbers. January 39 days, February 35, March 32, April 28, May 27 days, June 25 days. Anything that sells in 30 days, it's beautiful. It's a fantastic and great market. There's no question about it. But again, look at what happens starting in September, 28 days, October 31 days, November 34 days. That number is increasing. So just to sum up what we've covered so far, the gap between the original asking price and the sales price is getting wider. The gap between the price that had caused the house to sell and the actual sale price is getting wider. And the number of days on the market is increasing. Now we have three indicators who are starting to point in the same direction starting in September. That is significant. Now, again, those numbers are very marginal, small, tiny increase, but this is the beginning of a trend. Here is the number that concerns me a little bit more. And when I say concern me, again, everything is relative because it's still a very, very good market. Don't get me wrong. But I want you to look at the number of, it's called the month of inventory. What that number represents is the amount of time that it would take for us, real estate agent, to sell every home on the market right now if we stopped listing houses today. So if you look at January, that means that in 2 months we would sell all the inventory. In February, in 3 months, we would sell the entire inventory. March, 2 months, April, 2, May, 2 months, June, 2 months, July, August, 2 months. But see, look at what starts happening in September. It goes up to 3 months. Now, 3 months is still a very strong seller's market. Don't get me wrong. October, 3 months. And here's the biggest jump between October and November. 5 months worth of inventory in November. That is a 2 month increase. We haven't seen that in a long time. That's why I want you to pay attention to that number. Again, we're still in a good market. There's time for you. There's plenty of time for you to get a maximum equity out of your house, especially if you prepare your house for sale based on my method. There's still a lot of time for you. There's still time for you to make money, and good amount of money on the sale of your house. But don't delay, because as that trend continues to solidify over time, you will have less and less advantage. And that is significant in my mind. So don't delay if you want to sell your house. Now, it's great news for buyers because it looks like the tables are starting to turn and buyers are going to have more leverage, which is good. We kind of needed that because any market where we have less then 6 months of inventory is considered a seller's market. But when you have 3 or 2 months of inventory, it is a very strong seller's market, and buyers, couldn't compete. I mean, there was just not enough homes for sale for them. So anyway, going back to sellers, if you're thinking about selling your house, do not delay. I think we have a trend here, and my personal belief, I don't have a crystal ball, my personal belief is that it will continue to intensify over time. I don't know what the numbers will be, but what I know is that the more you wait, if you're a seller, the less leverage you have. So if you want to know more about the approach that I take to maximize the profit from the sale of your house and show you how to get as much as $25,000 more out of the sale of your house within your time frame and with no stress at all, I encourage you to contact me, send me a Facebook message, call me, or text me at 702-813-2661, and I will be back on Thursday with another real estate secret. Until then, have a great day. Talk to you soon.